A big matchup this week. They are 5-1, we are 2-4, but we did win that last game against the Chiefs. And last week we had some pretty big showings from some players. Dion Jordan last week had a very good 2 games for us, and then DeJuan Smith as well. An excellent game from him has moved him up to the cornerback number 2 spot. We did finally start to get some pressure last week as well, which needs to carry on. Last week was Dion Jordan's week. Before that, Trey Flowers has had some good weeks. So maybe if they both get going at the same time, we can have some very good games on the offense. Christian Hackenberg did alright last week, did mess up again at one point. We did throw in Aaron Murray towards the end of the game just to see how he would do. Hasn't had a chance yet to really prove he deserves that spot over Hackenberg, but I will continue to look for opportunities to play him and allow him to prove that he should be in the team. As for the running backs, Keith Marshall is currently 5th in the league in rushing, and Foster has now become the team's leading receiver despite not being here in week 1. We played a lot of cover 2 men last week, and that actually worked out really well for us. So I focused on that in training again. Now it's going to be hard to beat any one part of this Seahawks defense, so we need a good team effort all around. We can't give up on the ground game too early, but we can also very easily beat the Seahawks in the air. So it's gonna have to be both of them, and I think DJ Foster more than ever this week will serve a vital part as we try and get some mismatches with him, throw him out in the slot from the backfield, things like that, get him matched up against some weaker guys, and try and move the ball that way. So right from the beginning, our defense gets off to a good start, holds them to a field goal here. What do we do well? We give up our first possession. We also sack the quarterback, Kevin Pierre-Louis here, leading a jailbreak with Kyler Fackrell as well. A great sack there on him on their second possession. We did nothing with our first, but we get the ball back here, 3-0, and a screen here, and then just Foster turns on the Jets, gets away from the guy behind him, gets down for the first down there. And this is just a great play. Tajae Sharpe was running a post. There was nobody up deep. There were no safeties there. The 2 guys chasing him are cornerbacks. There was nobody there to catch him. He ran his route well, beat his man, and then there was just nothing in the middle of the field. He runs for that long touchdown, and we go up 7-3. And here on 3rd and 3, Sudfeld actually catches the ball and then fumbles it. So we get a 3rd down conversion, but Sudfeld fumbles the ball on a hit by a defender. Could have gone up 14-3 here. Instead, we have to fight for the ball back. Still 7-3, but Marshall breaks it out to the outside and meets Cam Chancellor and is actually injured on that hit and remains out for the rest of the game. Huge hit by the enforcer there, Chancellor. And then we drop back now to pass, plenty of time, and a catch again by Foster. Chancellor misses him, breaks it down the sideline. Thomas forces him out of bounds, but another big gain from Foster as a receiver. That's what we said we needed this week, and a play action there. All kinds of time for Tajae Sharpe just to run his route, be found by the receiver. Another injury, but this time it's Chancellor injuring himself, so the guy who's injured our player. And then look at this by Foster, comes back to meet the ball. Hackenberg just throws it up. Foster beats a cornerback on that play. What a receiver he is out of the backfield. That play was actually out of a spread formation, and here Hackenberg tries to find somebody, forces the ball. An ugly interception. Didn't need to be thrown at all there. And then we give the ball over again, 14-3. Seahawks try and work their way down the field, and they do. The problem was we were trying to make up for a bad play just then, a turnover. Davis goes for the turnover rather than playing the receiver, ends up judging it badly, but then Pierre-Louis here, they go for 2, but he manages to get to Russell Wilson before he can do anything, so we keep them at 14-9. And we go back to the screen game again here with DJ Foster, takes his time, looks for a route, and then bursts down the sideline. Is anybody going to catch him? Yes. Thomas catches up with him, shoves him out of bounds at the 4-yard line, but a huge gain there from a screenplay. Foster set up the blocks, burst down the field, and this is actually Andy Janovich, the fullback, taking the ball in, almost taking the ball in, gets stopped on the 1-yard line, and hands up, who's seen this before? Hackenberg drops back and fumbles the ball when he gets hit. He's done it once, he's done it twice, he's done it a whole bunch of times, and he does it again this game. And here we see a great cornerback blitz executed by Rashaan Melvin there. Doesn't bite on that play action whatsoever, just takes Russell Wilson down, but they do move the ball down the field here. They're threatening, and then a forced fumble sack from Dion Jordan. He did that last week to win the game pretty much. He does it again this week. This time somebody else picks up his fumble, and here on 3rd and 6, a huge play by Richard Sherman breaking up that pass. We switch possessions again, but now with 18 seconds left in the game, they launch it downfield, but Rashaan Melvin, the guy who got a sack earlier, intercepts Russell Wilson there, and that is the game. We did it. We defended our home field, and we did it pretty convincingly. The only time we were down in that game was after that first field goal they kicked, but from then on, as soon as we scored points, We were ahead for the entire game, never went back down again. It would have actually been a much closer game. It could have been 17-17 at one point, but the Seahawks on 2 occasions decided to go for 2 points. The first time, I kind of got it, but it was so early in the game it made no sense. The second time, they basically had to do it to make up for going for it for the first time and missing out. Both times, opposite outside linebackers sacked Russell Wilson before he could do anything, held them down, so it was 15-17. We managed to go down, get a field goal with Aaron Murray leading that drive. We gave him a chance again, and it worked out. So Christian Hackenberg was good again. This is the annoying thing. A quarterback rating of 112, 22 for 28, which is 78% completion percentage. He missed a couple of throws early on. 248 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 ugly interception, but it was the fumble again. He fumbled again on a sack, and we just can't accept that. It was in the red zone. We can't turn over the ball with a fumble every single game. That's not a thing you do once a game. Rushing wise, a huge hit to us. Keith Marshall getting injured early in the game. Now, I don't know how long that's going to be for yet. Fingers crossed, maybe no time. Okay, maybe it's going to be a couple of weeks, but DJ Foster can shoulder the load for a couple of weeks. I think we'd need to start slightly worrying if it was longer, although we do get one of our running backs that was injured back. I say one of our running backs. The only running back that was injured, we also get back in a week or two, or maybe this week. Receiving, DJ Foster has become the focus of the team. It's incredible what he's done since coming in. Our original receiving back was Isaiah Peed, who we kicked off the team after a terrible showing. It included 3 fumbles. DJ Foster, however, 11 receptions for 144 yards and a touchdown. Tajay Sharp, a huge day today with a big touchdown gain. 83 yards, 1 touchdown on 6 receptions, a long of 49 yards. Malcolm Mitchell, a couple of receptions, 35 yards. Brandon Coleman, 13 yards for 2 receptions, not much going on for him. Sudfeld had a fumble, didn't go back to him too often after that. Defensively, a couple of blunders, and more than one of those was by Akeem Davis, a guy who's been so good for us so far, has been an absolute sheriff there at free safety, stopping pretty much anything that comes to him. Not this time, let a few people past him. Tackles for a loss, we did pretty well there. 2 by Devin Still, 1 by Joshua Perry, 1 by Trey Flowers, and 1 by Kevin Pierre-Louis. Sacks-wise, Kevin Pierre-Louis, 1.5. Dion Jordan again registering another sack. Rashaan Melvin this time with a sack. And then Kyler Fackrell with half a sack as well. Interceptions, Rashaan Melvin as well. So Melvin is actually the guy we dropped in the depth chart to accommodate DeJuan Smith after he had a 1 sack, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble performance. Rashaan Melvin, however, no forced fumble for him. But Dion Jordan did get 1, but we don't have to feel like we need to swap around the cornerbacks every week. But it's good to see that we swap them around and then the next one steps up playing from that slot position. All around, great effort by the team. And now to see how long our player is going to be out, and apparently it's no time whatsoever. Keith Marshall, it was a 1-game deal. He just couldn't return for that game. He is back now, so no worries there whatsoever. LaMichael James still injured, coming back in a couple of games. So time to scout some players, and again, after that performance, pretty happy with who we have. One thing I do want to quickly do is jump here and add that middle linebacker that I saw the last time to the watch list. Really like what he looks like. And whilst I'm here, I might as well scout the rest of these guys. So this guy, better hit power, slightly worse tackling, but also better block shedding. We'll add him to the watch list as well. Middle linebacker, actually not that much a position of need, but also one I'd really like to get a rookie on. So you see here with Alonzo Swede, compared to Sloan and Bradshaw, he's good, he's a projected first rounder, but you look and it's a lower hit power, lower block shedding, lower tackling. He's really a downgraded version in every sense, but still a first rounder, but that's not the kind of guy we're looking for. Really, you gotta have at least 1A for us to be interested. So that's everything done this week. Let's move on to the next one. And this week, a very winnable game here. So we are now 3-4, so are the San Francisco 49ers. Now we are away from home, which could hold us back there, but this could be a game that we go and win. We did go to the Chiefs and win. We hosted the Seahawks and won. We're on a 2-game winning streak, and this is a big game, actually, something I just saw and realized. I'm glad we're not playing this game at the Superdome, because the team we traded Drew Brees to are the San Francisco 49ers. So this is in a way his homecoming. It's not because we're coming to him, but I don't think at home, I feel like the crowd would probably be cheering for the 49ers. Not sure that the Saints fans would be too happy, even in a fire sale situation if you traded away Drew Brees. You know, even at one point, I literally was having second thoughts about having traded him away. I was regretting it. When Christian Hackenberg was doing absolutely nothing for us, I had this pit in my stomach thinking, why didn't we keep him? You know, trade everyone else away, keep Drew Brees. But it's looking up now. We are going 3-4. So this is a big game. We need to win this game in a way to prove that getting rid of all these veterans was the right choice. We're going for youth, and if we can beat the 49ers led by Drew Brees, I think that will go some way to proving we did make a good choice. Obviously, the draft in the next few years will actually prove that. But for now, this is pretty much the best we can do to prove that point, beating Drew Brees and the 49ers at the Levi's Stadium. So early in the game, we went down by 7 points pretty quickly, and somehow DJ Foster manages to get away with this. Defender right by him, manages to catch the ball and get away from him somehow, gets the first down for us there. And this is what Coleman does oh so well, this exact route on the second cornerback, and then just takes it in for the touchdown. Once he breaks that, no one's going to catch him there. Another touchdown for him, a 46-yard touchdown, and then that extra point goes wide right by Connor Barth. Done that a couple of times this season, and look at this, an absolute jailbreak there on the run. We just get through and tackle him for a loss on what was a third down, so we get the ball back, and Pharaoh Cooper here, a nice return from him, breaks it left. Okay, he's probably not going to take it all the way, but it's still a very nice return there, gets a lot of yards for us, good field position, and then he just launches it downfield here for Coleman, but overthrows him. That was a give me touchdown. He gave it up, didn't get it, and again here on the field goal, wide right again from Connor Barth. We're still down 7-6 here. A big sack on Drew Brees here. That's right, Drew Brees, the man that we sent away for a couple of draft picks. Drew Brees playing against us. Nice connection there, but then a forced fumble. But look at the big man. Picks it up, takes it downfield. Still 4th and 10, so we get another turnover. We are down 14-6. We've got to do something here, and that is not it. Just completely overthrows his receiver. Bad play there. 48-yard field goal here. Connor Barth makes it, so we do get some points. 14-9 now. And again, we get to Drew Brees. We've gotten really good at bringing the pressure, and that's Kevin Pierre-Louis, the hero of last week, the hero again this week with 1.5 sacks already. Now Hackenberg back to pass, and a huge catch by Malcolm Mitchell just goes up over the cornerback, rips it out the air, 31-yard reception, and then we find him at the back of the end zone there for the touchdown. Malcolm Mitchell, 2 plays, it's now 20-15. We need a touchdown to go ahead, and he launches it downfield, and that is Tajay Sharp with a huge catch. Malcolm Mitchell actually out of the game injured, but Tajay Sharp picks up exactly where he left off with a 44-yard touchdown. Now it's 21-23. Tajay Sharp again down the sideline, somehow goes out of bounds. Felt the pressure there from Antoine Bethea. 21 seconds left. Hackenberg needs to do something, tries to throw it away, instead fumbles the ball. 14 seconds left. The game is over. We had it. We could have kicked a field goal. Hackenberg fumbles. It was a must-win game. I said before we went into it, it's a must-win game. And we didn't win. Christian Hackenberg. It's an unsolvable issue. It doesn't matter that he threw for 305 yards, 3 touchdowns with 62 completion percentage. It doesn't matter that Drew Brees only threw for 124 yards, no touchdowns. There's a big difference here. Drew Brees' team won, ours did not. And it's not because of rushing by the 49ers or anything like that. The only reason we lost that game is this fumble. A fumble that happened when he was supposed to be throwing it out of bounds. Stepping out of this franchise mode universe, is this a problem with Madden where every time you kind of throw it, it seems to be a fumble 80% of the time, especially if you're using a bad quarterback? Back into the universe, we can't do this every week with Christian Hackenberg, literally every week. I'm going to go and check his fumble stats. It's kind of irrelevant because I am dropping him now, but I'm going to check his fumble stat, and I'm willing to bet he's got at least 1 fumble per week. We can't go every single game expecting a fumble in a key situation half the time by Christian Hackenberg. That time, we were already in field goal range. Now, granted, maybe I should have just ran the ball. I didn't really think about the fact that Christian Hackenberg would likely fumble again, but I was also worried about our kicker, Connor Barth. He'd missed 2 kicks this game. I wasn't going to risk the game on a long distance kick by Barth. So I wanted to get a little closer to the end zone. We had some timeouts left. I thought we'd have an easy time. We move it down with a couple of passes. We'd been passing it well that day. We go and look at the passing. 305 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, he threw an interception as well. What a surprise. But 62%, there was no reason not to pass really, apart from the fact you should never leave the ball in the hands of Christian Hackenberg. Rushing wise, Keith Marshall, not many rushes, but we used him when we needed him. 81 yards, big day for him in that sense. Malcolm Mitchell had a big day, 58 yards, 6 receptions, a touchdown. Is injured, he did get injured. It's an abdominal tear. Don't know how long he's going to be out for. Bit worried about that one. He's a big part of this team. But in a slightly positive sense, Tajay Sharp has stepped up. 6 receptions, 115 yards and a touchdown. He was the guy that took it down the sideline late in that game. If he wouldn't have gone out of bounds, he did start to stumble at the sideline, step out of the Madden universe again. Why does that keep happening when there's no one near? If I'm a real life player and I'm running next to the sideline, I'm never going to come too close to it without pressure to start half balancing out. I'm going to be well aware of where I need to stand. So just because I'm running and I'm using a controller and a stick that's not as accurate, why am I leaning out of bounds when there's nobody near me? They need to fix that as well. Back into the universe. Brandon Coleman, 4 receptions, 83 yards. Big day for him, a touchdown as well. He was slightly less used last week, not this week. DJ Foster this week, however, was less used, only 4 receptions for 34 yards. Defensively, we played all right. I mean, we kept them to 23 points. A couple of field goals mixed in there. We didn't do a bad job. A bunch of tackles for losses. Everybody's got tackles for losses. Look at that, that's a whole bunch. 1.5 sacks for Kevin Pierre-Louis, who I'm pretty sure is now our leading sack man. Has become definitely the leading man on the defense. Michael Bennett with a sack and Rashaan Melvin with half a sack as well. No interceptions or anything like that to talk about. 1 forced fumble by Akeem Davis, a big hit on the receiver there, he caused that one. But this is why we didn't want to go for that field goal kick and why I wanted to push it a bit further down the field. 2 field goals attempted, 1 field goal made. He did make a 48-yard field goal, to be fair, and missed a shorter one, but that 50%, I wasn't confident that. He also missed an extra point. As a matter of fact, missed the only extra point he had a chance to make. Pharaoh Cooper Loki had a very good day. A long of a 36-yard return, obviously nothing crazy, but gave us good field position multiple times. 84 return yards on the day, a 21-yard average, but none of it was enough. So now the tough news here, let's check the injury report. 3 weeks out. Now that is bad, but it's not as bad as it would be in maybe some other positions. 3 weeks I think we can live with without Malcolm Mitchell, huge part of this offense, and we have now actually played 8 games, and after 8 games I wanted to have a look at how everybody's doing stat-wise, because obviously it's halfway through the season, so we're going to have a look how big of a part of the offense he is. But before we do anything else, he's gone. Well, he's not gone, but he's down there. I'm happy moving forward with Murray as long as he doesn't fumble as well. Before I look at the stats, let me finish this scouting. Surprised I haven't touched the tight ends yet. That's definitely a position that needs improving. I'm not happy with Zach Sudfeld as the number 1 option. There's a good enough B's all around for him. B- for catching. Catching traffic is good. That's not bad, but it's also not as good as I'm willing to give up a first round pick for, especially when we've got that linebacker or 2 linebackers that we like the look of. They're really 1 tight end that we're probably not going to go for with those stats. If he was A's all across the board, yeah, I'd probably take him over a middle linebacker or something, but not at B's. Now we can advance the week, and which means we can take a look at the stats at the middle point of the season, or at least the middle point of the season for us, having played 8 games. Also a big injury decision here. Doctors have cleared Jamal Fleming. No, we're not going to. Nate Ebner isn't the backup. We've been starting Nate Ebner. Not entirely sure why now. That's a big difference there, 66 to 69. And LaMichael James is back as well, or LaMike James as he's referred to here. Not really, doesn't do anything better here than anybody else on the team, but it's good to have a backup. So let's take a look at the stats here. Our quarterback, who no longer starts for us, 1,900 yards, which probably obviously puts him right under 4,000 for the season, which isn't that bad as a rookie. 62 completion percentage at this point. He's been sacked 9 times, which isn't that high in 8 games. Somehow it says he's played 9 games. Now the rusher here, look, 645 yards at the halfway point. 110 carries, a 5.9 average, which is ridiculous. He's got home run ability, 7 touchdowns, An absolute gem we found here, and I don't think I expected him to be this good, and I already saw his stats obviously, but he's fast, he's strong, he's everything. You don't even need another running back, but we do also have DJ Foster as our receiving back. Both of these guys rookies, 129 yards rushing, same average, but he obviously gets used a lot more sparingly. Broken tackles, he's got them. Yards after contact, he's got them. His longest run, 65 yards. 8 games played. So yeah, DJ Foster joined us after week 1 and is already up there with the most important players. Has got, I think, the most receiving yards or the most receptions at this point. And like I said, 8 games played, 8 fumbles. That's not okay. That's ridiculous. That's why we've dropped him. That's why Aaron Murray is our starting quarterback now. Receivings wise, this is crazy. DJ Foster, 43 receptions, 480 yards, on pace to finish the season just under 1,000. Malcolm Mitchell, 31 receptions, 323 yards. Brandon Coleman, bit more of a big play guy, 448 yards from 29. Tajae Sharpe in recent games has really been stepping up for us. Before was just kind of a guy that catch 1 or 2 passes for, I don't know, 18 yards a game. He's now up at 374 yards, 46 yards per game as an average. Zach Sudfeld, really not my guy. He just doesn't play like I want him to, but he's been useful as well, I guess. Got a couple of touchdowns. And then a couple of guys here we haven't integrated yet. Mike Thomas, still not only 2 receptions for 8 yards. Moritz Böhringer, only 2 receptions for 14 yards. And then 2 guys down here who haven't played a single snap, I don't think, on offense. Touchdowns, Malcolm Mitchell leading the pack with 5, DJ Foster with 3, Coleman with 2, Sharp with 2, and Sudfeld with 2. So defense, and Kevin Pierre-Louis does lead the team in tackles with 69, on pace to finish the season with around 130 odd, which will be crazy. Akeem Davis right behind him with 63 tackles, Nate Ebner 53, Scooby Wright 43, Milner, I'm not going to go through all of them obviously. Tackles for loss, Trey Flowers leading the pack there, 8 tackles for loss. Scooby Wright with 7, Kevin Pierre-Louis right behind him with 5, Nate Ebner, strong safety, coming in for 5 tackles for a loss. Now let's take a look at the sacks, where Kevin Pierre-Louis is the team leader, a 4-3 outside linebacker with 4.5 sacks, looking to finish the season with 9, but he has been getting more sacks in recent games, so might even go above that, who knows. Trey Flowers with 4, Devin Still with 3.5, Dion Jordan with 3.5. Not good enough, right? Think about this. This is the halfway point. Our number 1 defensive end will finish the season with 8 sacks at this pace. Our defensive tackle with 7, which is a lot for the defensive tackle. 7 for the other defensive end, 6 for the other defensive tackle, but that's not good enough. Obviously 4 for 2 cornerbacks here, but we need like 10 sacks out of one of our defensive ends at least, so we need some increased production there. 2 interceptions for Rashaan Melvin, 1 for DeJuan Smith, 1 for Akeem Davis. Could probably do with a little more production from them as well there, but you can't have everything. A couple of pass deflections here, nothing too much. That's not really a great tracked stat on this game. Neither are catches allowed, apparently only 6 there between those two. Akeem Davis with 3 forced fumbles, Dion Jordan with 2, DeJuan Smith with 1, Trey Flowers with 1, and Nate Ebner with 1 as well. No blocked kicks. We do have that 1 safety from a lot of games past now. That 1 defensive touchdown by Dion Jordan, and again a couple of guys who apparently have played 9 games. Now, how that works, I'm really not sure. I don't know if that's counting the preseason. It can't be, right? I don't know how they've played 9 games when we've only played 8. Maybe in the bye week they went off and did some contract work for some other NFL teams. Let's see if any of our players are up for any yearly awards at this point. How are we doing here? We're not on the billing for Coach of the Year after trading away absolutely everybody on the team. Defensive Rookie of the Year, we do have Keith Marshall in, so Ezekiel Elliott is currently ahead of him. We need to give Keith Marshall a few more touches. We need to get him to win that Offensive Rookie of the Year. That really would be a success. DJ Foster as well, making the number 5 there. Christian Hackenberg, everybody's here because we've got so many rookies. We got the whole cast here. Tajae Sharpe, Malcolm Mitchell, Christian Hackenberg. I don't know how he makes the list. I guess Madden doesn't really track how bad those fumbles are and how much they cost us. So that was a look at the stats at the halfway point of the season for us after 8 games. Looks like some guys are up to finish with some pretty good numbers by the end of it. We've got a couple of guys in for Offensive Rookie of the Year, although I don't know how possible it is for them to win that. Before last week, I was a little pessimistic about our chances in pretty much any game. We are only 3-5, but we lost that game that we should have won. We could have been 4-4 again. Another chance at 500. We had one early in the season to be 2-2. We messed that one up. We had a chance now to be 4-4. We messed that one up. When I had to give the season goal, I did say 7-9. So if we finish just below 500 at 7-9, it's good enough. We'll get another season in us. We get to go through the draft, start picking some players up. We need another season, another draft, and then we might have a bit of a team going on. But that is it for this episode and this week. Next week we play the Broncos and whoever is in week 11. We never like to look too far ahead.